Hi, welcome to What's My Podcast. I'm Jen, and I'm a library specialist for Arapahoe Library District. In the last couple years, I've gravitated toward podcast listening for knowledge and entertainment. Whenever I have a question about an author, a subject, or event, I think, I bet there's a podcast for that. I also love that you can get a lot of information in a short amount of time. I spend a lot of time listening to different content, and I'd love to share some suggestions with you. Today's segment is Book Club. Please note that some episodes may not be suitable for all listeners. My first podcast recommendation is Marlon and Jake Read Dead People. Booker Prize-winning author Marlon James and his editor Jake Morrissey discuss the dead authors they love and hate. As a writer and an editor, Marlon and Jake have read thousands of books between them, and they're not shy in expressing their opinions about them. Sometimes they'll agree, sometimes they won't, but in every episode they'll tell you what they think, uncensored and with no holds barred. That's why the authors have to be dead. This podcast is for you if you love and/or hate classic literature. Next is the Drunk Guys Book Club. Each week, the Drunk Guys tackle a famous book while drinking craft beer matching the book, characters, themes, etc. What beer goes with Orwell's 1984? Founders Dissenter IPA, of course. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, 7 Pumpkin Beers. This is a great podcast for readers, drinkers, or anyone with a raunchy sense of humor. Plus, it's way better than English class. The Drunk Guys also work towards breaking the gendered stereotype that only women like talking about books. This podcast is for you if you love to read, if you love beer, or if you'd like to hear some raw, honest opinions. Black Chick Lit features in-depth discussions of the latest and greatest works by Black women. Join Danielle and Molly as they talk prose, judge every character's decisions, and laugh at their own jokes. Each month, they host an in-depth look at a title written by a Black woman. They discuss a wide range of forms, including literary fiction, nonfiction, young adult, poetry, and urban fiction. This podcast is for you if you love fiction, if you love discussion about issues that face Black people today, and if you would like to know more about Black female authors. Comic Book Club is a live weekly talk show about comic books. Alex Zalbin was the artistic director for the People's Improv Theater. Justin and Pete were performers there and both comic book lovers. The three joined forces and Comic Book Club has been going strong for 14 years. Each week they welcome the best guests from the world of comics and comedy. This podcast is for you if you love the world of comic book fandom or if you're new to comics and would like to hear live discussions. My last recommendation today is Books and Boba, which is a book club dedicated to spotlighting books written by authors of Asian descent. Every month, hosts Marvin Yue and Rira Yu pick a book by an Asian or an Asian American author to read and discuss on the podcast. In addition to book discussions, they also interview authors and cover publishing news. This podcast is for you if you want to support Asian authors and discover more fiction reads to add to your collection. There are so many podcasts being produced, and it can take time to find what you like. I recommend checking out the You Might Also Like list at the bottom of each show page. You can also search in your podcast app with keywords such as a subject or an author's name. All these podcasts can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen.